The royal couple paid their respects during a memorial ceremony for Queen Elizabeth II in Scotland. When the path is cleared by your purported competitor, what happens next? Naturally, liberty. There were 3 persons involved in Princess Diana's connection with King Charles, and she brought Camilla up many times. Their actions after Princess Diana's death reveal all about their intentions to marry now that she is gone. Tell me what this means. Could it be that Princess Diana's marriage had problems stemming from Queen Camilla? Come explore the fascinating tale of the royal marriage of Charles and Diana, the Queen, her untimely death, and Charles's subsequent marriage to Camilla Bowles with us. The love story of Prince Charles and Diana. Lady Diana Spencer and Prince Charles's love story is as magical as a fairy tale. The love affair between this pair began in 1977 when they met at Diana's family house, Althorpe. Charles was 29 years old and Diana was only 16 years old. During their first cordial encounters, Charles thought Diana a lovely, naive young lady who was full of charm. Their passion wouldn't flourish until 1980, however, which was 3 years later. Lady Sarah Spencer was her elder sister, and Charles had dated her before. But when Diana showed up for a summer party at a friend's home, he couldn't help but notice her. He was drawn to her naivete and candor, and they began to spend a lot more time together. In the spotlight of public opinion, their romance blossomed rapidly. When news of her romance with Charles reached the public, Diana, who was naturally reserved, came to the forefront. Keep in mind that Diana and Charles were just 6 months into their affair when they were engaged in February 1981. Thus, their love was still in its early stages. The couple's engagement coincided with an unexpected surge in media attention. The people were captivated by Diana's beauty, poise, and purported humility, earning her the moniker People's Princess even before she got married. The engagement ring, a blue sapphire that would go on to become one of the most recognizable symbols of the royal family, was the last piece of jewelry to be added. More than 750 million people throughout the globe tuned in to see their wedding on July 29, 1981. People in Britain and beyond were able to see the Diana legend brought to life during this wedding at St. Paul's Cathedral. The demands of royal duty, personality clashes, and divergent interests ultimately sowed the seeds of dissatisfaction. However, now that we know how Prince Charles and Princess Diana met, let's learn more about their life apart. Prince Charles and Diana's biography. On November 14, 1948, Prince Charles was born into the royal family to Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. It was anticipated that he would succeed to the British throne. His early years were marked by custom, which included rigorous schooling that included attendance at the infamous Gordonstown School. His early years were characterized by duty and responsibility, and the relationships he had before with Diana were a reflection of his desire for the company to withstand the demands of life as a prince. How had the prince handled his childhood? To discover out, keep watching. He met Camilla Shand early in the 1970s, and she was one of his important early partnerships. Camilla was a cheerful, self-assured woman who admired many of Charles's hobbies, including hunting and polo in the country. Their lengthy and intense relationship was finally cut short by royal etiquette requirements and outside forces. Charles searches for Diana, a more desirable wife since he believes Camilla is an inappropriate match for the future king. Diana was not born into royalty, but she came from an aristocratic family. July 1st, 1961 saw her birth. Her parents were John Spencer, the 8th Earl Spencer, and Frances Roche. The youngest daughter was her. Diana was deeply impacted by the turbulent marriage that ended in divorce between her parents. She experienced emotional maltreatment as a child, which led to the development of a great sense of empathy for other people's suffering. Before she met Charles, Diana had a somewhat modest life. She had few meaningful relationships and worked as a kindergarten assistant in London. When it was revealed that Diana and the prince were getting married, the public found her to be an intriguing figure due to her quiet personality. Charles's well-traveled and experienced persona contrasted sharply with her lowly beginnings. Their relationship was greatly affected by their very disparate upbringings and life experiences. Charles was primarily positioned in the more remote and fixation-inducing role of his royal responsibility due to his great sense of duty and history. Diana, on the other hand, was significantly more sensitive and desired a greater degree of closeness and affection in their union. Although the differences didn't really matter at first, their marriage started to suffer considerably later. Will Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage stay based only on love, or will it eventually come to an end? If so, what caused this to occur? To discover out, keep watching. A shaky marriage and divorce. Public adulation and private anguish characterized the first few years of Charles and Diana's marriage. Prince William and Prince Harry, the couple's offspring, brought immense delight to the British people and made it quite clear that they were living their fairy tale. Nonetheless, marital harmony was severely lacking behind the scenes. The overwhelming demands of royal life, including constant scrutiny from the media, the meaningless rituals of royal formality, and Charles's seeming inaccessibility, left Diana feeling emotionally alone and hopeless. Diana required an emotional touch, and Charles, who was used to royal responsibilities, couldn't provide it. He found comfort in his profession and in Camilla throughout that period. Why does Camilla appear in this image? Hadn't she tied the knot? To discover out, continue watching. The marriage started to show signs of strain as Charles and Diana struggled to meet one another's expectations and demands. They already had a tense relationship before Diana's battles with bulimia, depression, and inadequacy became public knowledge. Conversely, Charles keeps up his friendship with Camilla until Diana finds out, which leaves her feeling deeply betrayed. This marriage had totally collapsed by the time the 1990s rolled around. At this point in time, Charles and Diana were leading separate lives, dogged by the never-ending, nauseating tales of their marital discontent. People started picking sides because they idolized the pair, and Diana was often portrayed as the one who had been harmed in the marriage. The couple declared their separation in December 1992, but they didn't finalize their divorce until August 1996. Diana became a more confident and powerful woman after the divorce, which ended that unhappy chapter in their life. As a result of the constant finger-pointing, Prince Charles eventually had to make amends and put himself back together. So, what was it like for the ex-couple, and Princess Diana in particular, after the divorce? Stay tuned to find out. Princess Diana's life after the divorce. After her marriage to Prince Charles ended in divorce, Princess Diana made efforts to forge a new identity outside of the royal family. The liberation from the constraints of royal life allowed her to blossom as an individual, become a mother, and engage in humanitarian activities. After her divorce, Diana devoted herself fully to helping others. In addition to her addiction, she became a vocal supporter of causes like ending homelessness, raising awareness about AIDS, and removing landmines. She was one of the few prominent persons whose efforts to alleviate the AIDS epidemic had a direct impact on patients, helped dispel stigma, and brought humanity to the disease. Her eagerness to connect with others going through tough times and her compassionate nature made Diana a beloved figure throughout the globe. There were challenges in Diana's life despite her philanthropic endeavors. It was intolerable for her because of the media. After the divorce, the paparazzi began to follow her wherever she went, further intensifying their interest in her private life. Everyone was already paying close attention to Diana's romances with Hasnat Khan, a cardiac specialist, and Dodi Fayed. As Diana withdrew into her charitable work and her boys, William and Harry, she began to feel the mental toll of the media's relentless pursuit of her. Diana's tangled connection with the British royal family persisted. Charles and the rest of the royal family had strained ties with her, but she was close to her sons. However, Diana persisted in her role as a mother to instill empathy and responsibility in William and Harry. Tragic events are in store for the grieving royal family. Princess Diana's untimely departure from this world occurred on August 31, 1997. Along with her friend Dodi Fayed and driver Henri Paul, She was killed in a vehicle collision in Paris. The wild pursuit by the paparazzi was said to be the cause of the vehicle accident. There was a lot of uncertainty about the event just after it happened. News segments seek to explain the occurrences. After Diana's death, the royal family didn't say anything. The disaster happened when Queen Elizabeth II, Prince Charles, and her grandchildren William and Harry were visiting Scotland's Balmoral Castle. Prince Charles was devastated by the public's and media's outcry over the royal family's choice to remain in Balmoral in the days after Diana's death. After all, Diana was his boy's mother, regardless of their strained relationship and terrible divorce. Consequently, the loss of her was profound. In order to return Diana's corpse to England, Charles immediately traveled to Paris. This proved that Charles considered Diana to be his, despite their strained relationship. The public's response to Diana's death and the subsequent sorrow was unprecedented in its magnitude and intensity. Thousands flocked to the grounds of Buckingham and Kensington palaces to pay their respects, write comments, and provide presents. The public outpouring of grief was a PR nightmare for the royal family as it took them off guard. Some have said that the Queen's lack of public expression of grief and her seeming indifference to the tragedy is her fault. On September 5, 1997, the day before Diana's burial, in response to mounting public pressure, the Queen made an unprecedented live broadcast to the country. During her speech, the Queen spoke highly of Diana, calling her an extraordinary and talented human being. She also said that everyone at Balmoral has been working to ease William and Harry's grief at their mother's death. The Queen's sensitivity to the public's sentiments was on full display. While this helped mend fences between the people and the royal family, it also showed how the monarchy was supposed to become more of a participatory society. September 6, 1997 was the day of Diana's funeral. There was a period of national grief. Even though millions more watched the ceremony on television, over 1 million people still lined the streets of London to see it. There were many moving and powerful moments at the funeral. While William and Harry stood behind their mother's coffin, Earl Spencer, Diana's brother, gave the eulogy. A scathing indictment of the press and the royal family was intercut with tributes to Diana throughout the eulogy. Soon, the world will learn who caused Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marital problems. To discover out, continue watching. Prince Charles and Camilla, a new pair. It was necessary for Prince Charles to work on repairing his public image and his relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles after the passing of Princess Diana. Despite the fact that Camilla had been a part of Charles's life for decades, their connection was mostly shattered by scandal and public condemnation in the years that followed the passing of Diana. In spite of all the upheaval, their love was able to withstand the test, and in the early 2000s, they started appearing in public together more often. Given that many people in the British public still held Diana in high regard as their ideal, the first response of the British public regarding their connection was ambivalent. Camilla was revealed as the second lady who had partially intervened in the proceedings that led to the dissolution of Charles and Diana's marriage. On the other hand, the tide of public opinion started to turn in a different direction over time. The passage of time made it abundantly clear that Charles and Camilla were deeply in love with one another. Furthermore, their unwavering commitment to public service, notably in the realm of charitable work, the environment, literacy, and healthcare, helped to restore their reputation among the majority of people. Many people grew to consider Camilla as a sympathetic character, a lady who had endured her struggles and had stuck with Charles through thick and thin. Camilla had been attacked in the media as a mistress who was both exploitative and predatory in the past. But hang on, what was the response of the royal family to the marriage being announced? In particular, what impression did the Queen take away from this? Is it true that she backed the union despite the fact that the Church of England has a law that prohibits divorcees from being married again? The Queen's stand on the relationship. Being both a mother and the supreme governor of the Church of England, Queen Elizabeth viewed the connection between her son, Prince Charles, and Camilla Parker Bowles to be a complex subject. Her worries were heightened since, according to Church of England tradition, Divorced people should not get remarried. And this would be especially true if one of the couples involved had been incestuous during their marriage. Because of this moral and theological conundrum, the Queen's position on the connection between Charles and Camilla was very convoluted. At first, she was supposed to frown upon it, particularly among those who were so loyal to Diana. She hoped the monarchy's image would remain intact and that they would be praised. Additionally, Camilla was not allowed to attend any public events with Prince Charles by the Queen. After the scandals surrounding Charles and Diana's marriage rocked the royal family, the Queen felt a special responsibility to restore honor to the institution. Royal couple, Prince Charles and Camilla, remain beloved. Despite the many scandals and catastrophes that have befallen their relationship, Prince Charles's devotion to Camilla remains unwavering. They have a lot in common, and their love is strong and encouraging. It didn't end there. They also got to participate in a plethora of charitable activities together, with issues that were supposedly near and dear to their hearts. Environmental, health, and social welfare-related initiatives were their focus. Camilla worked on initiatives to promote reading and end domestic violence, whereas Charles focused entirely on addressing environmental degradation. Their combined work in these areas changed public perception of them and portrayed them as a pair whose home was in helping others. One of the most impressive aspects of their partnership, however, was how they managed to stay loyal to their principles despite the many challenges posed by royal life. In spite of the intense media attention, Charles and Camilla maintained a modest profile in their public duties, doing the work they believed in. Their connection flourished as a result of the public's acceptance of their royal duties. After being vilified in the media, Camilla began to gain supporters because of her humble personality and dedication to charity. With an equally dedicated companion at his side, Charles could finally seem more approachable and concerned. Charles and Camilla's resiliency and joint charitable efforts helped transform their public image. Despite the criticism their relationship had endured, their partnership was a model of how two people can overcome adversity to form a strong bond that helped them succeed individually and as a team. What gave the Queen the go-light for them to start dating? That is going to be revealed soon. Finally, the Queen gives in to the demands. Although Prince Charles and Camilla's love was gaining more and more acceptance over time, the path to their marriage was far from straightforward, owing to the complexities of royal procedure and the expectations placed on the monarch. The Queen's decision to grant Charles and Camilla's marriage was influenced by these circumstances. It was first acknowledged that Charles was the next in line for the throne, and that the future of the kingdom depended on his well-being and stability. The second factor was the changing public opinion on divorce and remarriage, which became more mainstream after Diana's passing. The Queen, however, made a full U-turn when public sentiment toward Charles and Camilla improved. She understood the significance of her son's bond with Camilla and the stability that their partnership had provided to Charles's life. Camilla was a dependable and competent companion for Charles, and the Queen understood that he would require one during his reign. After careful deliberation and consultation with experts, the Queen sanctioned Charles and Camilla's marriage in 2005. The low-key civil ceremony at Windsor Guildhall was fitting, given the delicate nature of their relationship. The most crucial part, however, is that the Queen and other members of the royal family were present during the blessing at St. George's Chapel. Many saw it as a formality that the royal family was accepting Camilla into their inner circle. Certain concessions were also part of the decision to permit the marriage. As a mark of respect for Diana's legacy and the public's continued affection for the late princess, Camilla chose to be known as the Duchess of Cornwall instead of Princess of Wales. It was also decided that when Charles became king, Camilla would be called Princess Consort rather than Queen. The decision took into account popular sentiment and allowed the monarchy to proceed without rehashing previous grievances. A watershed moment in British royal history came with the marriage of Charles and Camilla. The institution's adaptability to changing social mores and the Queen's realistic attitude to her job as Queen were both reflected in it. The marriage also showed that individuals might find contentment and stability inside the institution, which brought humanity to an otherwise faceless and impersonal system. How will the British people feel about this union? To discover out, continue watching. Public feelings about the union. The public's view of Prince Charles and Camilla's marriage has changed significantly over the years, reflecting societal attitudes and views on marriage, divorce, and the royal family in general. In the early stages of their romance, the public had a generally negative impression of them. The dissolution of Charles and Diana's marriage was widely believed to have been Camilla's fault. It was originally hard for the public to recognize Camilla as a respectable companion for Charles due to the enormous media attention and the continuing affection of the people for Diana. However, popular opinion started to shift as Charles and Camilla's romance progressed and grew more apparent. The royal couple has been more approachable because of their modest public personas and unwavering commitment to charity work. Partially, Camilla began to win over the public with her humble demeanor and sincere pursuit of issues like animal welfare, literacy, and aid for victims of domestic abuse. The public's perspective shifted dramatically after Charles and Camilla's 2005 wedding. Charles and Camilla were deeply committed to one another, and their relationship was built on a strong and lasting connection. Nonetheless, there was still widespread opposition to the marriage, especially among those who remembered Diana fondly. They were able to repair the couple's reputation with their deeds of charity and continuous attendance at public occasions. No one should underestimate the power of the media to shape public opinion. The media's depiction of Camilla changed from a housewrecker to a sympathetic character over time, mirroring the public's changing views. The pair softened their image and presented themselves as a solid and loving relationship via documentaries, interviews, and public appearances. These days, most people are happy about Charles and Camilla's marriage, yet there are others who aren't happy about it. The couple's long-term commitment, their love, and their community engagement together have fostered an atmosphere of acceptance and respect, although Diana's memory casts a shadow. Since Charles and Camilla are two damaged individuals who have overcome tremendous adversity as a couple, the public has mainly accepted their marriage. Jewels passed down over the ages. The jewels kept by the royal family are among the most famous and valuable in the world. Symbols and history are imbued in jewelry pieces because of their long history of transmission. These stones are adorned with great cultural and familial significance, and they are often associated with certain events and regal figures. Instead of having a custom-crafted ring constructed for Princess Diana, she chose an 18-karat solitaire from a catalog, making it one of the most famous jewels connected with her. The heir apparent, Prince William, inherited it from Diana and presented it to Kate Middleton upon her engagement, ensuring its perpetuation within the royal family. While Camilla was the Duchess of Cornwall and then Queen Consort, she was also featured in many priceless royal possessions. The Greville Tiara, a stunning diamond tiara made by Boucheron for Dame Margaret Greville, became an heirloom of the Queen Mother and is one of her most prominent items. In her early years as a member of the royal family, Camilla donned the tiara on several occasions. Since royal jewels may have been worn by members of many generations before being handed down through the family, they serve as a visible connection between them. Some examples of such heirloom-quality jewelry are Queen Elizabeth II's diamond tiara, necklaces, and brooches, which have been passed down through many generations of her family and have taken on new significance with each new owner. Because of their association with certain occasions, such as weddings and state dinners, they also contribute to the public's view of the royal family. Even the most delicate pieces of jewelry may convey deep meanings about status, lineage, and continuity. Charles and Camilla have shown the proper use of royal jewels as an integral component of their official appearance. Furthermore, and most significantly, to bring to their attention the fact that they are integral to the monarchy's larger historical context. With access to the collection, The king and queen consort demonstrate their position as well as the continuation of the royal family's traditions. Has the fact that King Charles and Camilla had an illegitimate child ever crossed your mind? We should take a closer look at King Charles and Queen Camilla's reign before getting into the specifics. Charles, the king with Camilla, finally as queen. The moment when Prince Charles ascended to the throne in 2022 with Camilla by his side as queen consort was a moment of completion for the pair after a journey that had been both torturous and transformational for them. Charles accepted the mantle of leadership with a sense of profound responsibility and a lifetime of preparation since he was the heir apparent who had served the longest in the history of the United Kingdom. The position of queen consort that Camilla played was the consequence of years of gradual acceptance, during which time public opinion was being cultivated with the appropriate amount of prudence. In the beginning, it was suggested that she should take on the role of princess consort as a sign of respect for Diana and the sensitivity that is associated with her legacy. The passage of time, the gradual softening of public perceptions, and the widespread recognition of Camilla's contributions to the royal family, as well as all of her philanthropic work, made it abundantly evident that she was worthy of the title of queen. In their role as king and queen consort, Charles and Camilla would undoubtedly find themselves in the position of navigating a dynamic globe while navigating a contemporary monarchy. Because they shared principles, they had a common sense of what it means to serve the public, which includes the duties and restrictions on privacy that come along with it. Collectively, they concentrated on topics that are of the utmost importance to them, ranging from the protection of the environment and climate change to the promotion of social justice and the protection of cultural heritage. The presence of Camilla with Charles when he ascended his throne was not only historic, but also emblematic of even more aspects of the monarchical institution while she was there. Her appointment as queen consort was a representation of the progression of the royal family as well as the institution's capacity to stay flexible in the face of shifting societal norms and expectations. In addition, it highlighted the significance of resiliency and the ability to evolve as an individual, both of which Charles and Camilla have shown throughout their lives. However, when seen from another perspective, a change in the reign was an opportunity. In spite of the fact that Charles and Camilla's connection has endured for a considerable amount of time during the course of their marriage, it was unquestionably heartening to see that such a vital component of any royal match seemed to be safe and offered a solid foundation for their new duties. They took on this issue with the intention of preserving the greatest aspects of the past while also modernizing the monarchy in order to maintain its relevance with the people the monarchy served. The narrative of Charles and Camilla is one of love that lasts indefinitely, of perseverance, and of the capacity to triumph despite adversity. What has been a scandalous romance, which will undoubtedly result in the position of king and queen consort, herewith represents the complications that are inherent in life within the royal family as well as the development of the British monarchy. As long as they continue to serve, their legacy will not be etched just with the titles they may wear, but also with the beliefs and principles that they have upheld throughout their whole lives. Allegations that the king and queen had a kid that was not really theirs. Recent events have shown that Simon Durante Day, an Australian who was born in the United Kingdom and now resides in Queensland, has been on a mission to demonstrate his royal heritage and the potential that he has blue blood coursing through his veins. Simon Durante Day was adopted by Karen and David Day when he was just 8 months old. He was born in Gosport, Portsmouth, United Kingdom, in 1966. His adopted grandparents, Winifred and Ernest Bolden, had previously worked in a royal household assisting the Queen and Prince Philip. Ernest Bolden was even awarded an Imperial Service Award for his service to the royal family. The claimed prince's hypothesis revolves around a trip to Australia in 1965, during which he claims that his supposed father, who was just 17 years old at the time, impregnated Camilla without her knowingly consenting to the pregnancy. Despite what many headlines would have you believe, Charles and Camilla first met in 1970, to be more specific. This was a far earlier time in their relationship. On the other hand, Simon is completely convinced of this fact, despite the fact that Buckingham Palace has never officially responded to Durante Day's allegations. He continues to look for answers to his questions about his identity. Simon sees a chance to make a legal bid due to the fact that the King and Queen are planning a royal visit to Australia in the near future. He has the intention of taking them to court and requesting that they have a paternity test done on them. In light of the fact that King Charles III has ascended to the throne of the United Kingdom and Camilla has been appointed as Queen Consort, do you believe that the British monarchy will be superior to what it was in the past? Will there also be the prospect of a link of this type, which is fraught with controversy, with future royal bloodlines? Within the comment box, you are able to express your opinions. Remember that you should subscribe, like, and share this post. Click on the video that is now being shown on the screen before you go.